Envy and jealousy are normal human emotions. We all experience them, possibly far more frequently than we'd like to admit. Now, they are powerful messengers about how we feel about ourselves and the place that we have in the world. However, that being said, they're not particularly pleasant. They're a very intense somatic experience. And when it comes to the more intense negative emotional experiences, very few of us are equipped to actually tolerate them long enough to decipher the message they have for us. When we experience envy and jealousy, it feels like a threat, and it's usually indicative of someone having something that we want or potentially taking something that we have. As a consequence, our ego feels threatened. And I suppose when we're able to tolerate the emotion and to decipher what it is that's actually going on, then we can look at the situation with discernment and with wisdom and decide whether or not this emotion has been driven from a place of inadequacy and low self-worth, in which case we need to possibly do a little bit of work on being more compassionate with ourselves and on building our levels of self-acceptance, or whether it's driven from us feeling that we could be somewhere else in life, that we could be doing something with our life that we're not actually doing, or that we're not actually following the trajectory that we feel will fill us with meaning and fulfillment. And in that case, then it is a motivational emotion. It's something that is telling us to get off our ass and do what it is that we need to do in order to, I suppose, emulate the person that in a way we're admiring, but it just feels like we feel inferior to. However, when we don't have the skills necessary to untangle our envy and our jealousy, we end up comparing ourselves in a very unfavorable manner, and this can quickly transform into a type of resentment which comes from low self-worth and self-loathing, and this can be the birthplace of gossip. Now, as a human species, gossip has an evolutionary purpose. It's necessary to be able to spread the word about what's going on. However, that being said, there's a far cry from talking about fairly neutral content and talking about a person in a very malicious manner that is unnecessary, unkind, and in no ways beneficial. And I suppose some of the reasons that we find ourselves partaking in gossip include things like boredom, a need to feel superior, feeling envious of other people, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be liked, wanting attention, feeling angry or threatened, wanting to exact revenge on somebody, feeling unhappy, and wanting to deflect pain that we're experiencing within. And superiority gives us a temporary dopamine hit. It lights up our reward center. So it is addictive, just like alcohol, just like any type of drug. However, like all of those things, it has long-term negative consequences because, again, when you are placing your self-worth in the disparagement of others and in slandering others, then ultimately it's in a very precarious place. So you have to look internally. You have to ask yourself what the driving force for you partaking in these conversations that ultimately leave us all feeling a little bit icky is. And then compassionately looking at what it is that you need to accept about yourself, or perhaps what it is that you need to change about your life, what it is that you need to create in order to feel less bothered about what other people are doing or not, as the case may be, and to be more engrossed in serving and contributing, in doing what it is that you need to do to feel meaningful and purposeful and loving on a day-to-day basis. So just some food for thought. If you would like to become more self-aware, if you would like to become more in tune with why you feel a certain way, why you think a certain way, and why you behave a certain way, then get in touch with me on my website. It's fundamentals.ie.